You're live.
All righty, if we could call public service to order, if I could get a motion and approval of our previous meeting minutes.
So moved.
We have a motion. Can I get a second? I'll second it since we're working on.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, our first piece in front of us is a resolution declaring it necessary to improve East Market Street between the termini of High Street and Interstate 76 by resurfacing and declaring an emergency. Mr. Lettle? I can't hear you, Chris. Nope. You might have to log out and log back in. Darn technology, gotta love it, huh?
You either love it or hate it. So this piece is $2.6 million.
You're the first one, the resolution for the resurfacing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Luddle's coming back in now. We want to give him just a moment to reconnect to audio.
Okay.
Thanks.
Most of it's coming from ODOT, Linda. It's not coming from us.
Okay. I think I saw that. Yeah, they're doing 2.1. Okay.
I think Chris might be froze again. Oh, there, he's moving. Okay.
Mr. Lettle, there's where it says mute at the bottom, there's a little up arrow next to it. If you hit that, at the top it says select a microphone. Go in there and try and select a different microphone than whatever is selected. And if you need me to say that again, wave your hands at me. Nope. Still don't hear you. Usually it says like same as system in there. Try that.
Uh-oh, think we might have it. Connecting to audio. Nope, that didn't work either. So you, Francie or Jim, are you guys close to Chris? Can he come?
Madam Chair, can you hear me? Because he can come this way.
I can hear
Okay.
you. Yes, I
Chris,
can hear you. So you
wanna
might
come
need to
over
go
here,
over here,
Chris?
Chris.
He's gonna come over here.
Okay.
Modern technology.
We're gonna work this out.
Actually, Here's work. You want 18 from IT, look at your computer. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay, let me turn this up because I can't hear you guys very well. Okay, we ready?
We are ready. Do you need me to read that back in, Chris, or you're good to go?
No, we're good to go.
Okay,
Okay, the first piece is an ODOT resurfacing project. We applied for a few years ago. This is from, as it's stated, East Market Street from High Street all the way out to 76, which is out just as you get into Ellett. It's about 3.5 miles. It's 2-inch mill and fill. We did apply for some other monies through AMATs. So there will be some curb ramps that will be reconstructed, ADA curb ramps with this project. They'll do all new striping plan. There'll be some traffic calming things done with striping and with signage through the hospital to try to slow that traffic down. Obviously, some of those crosswalks in that pavement area sometimes are a little bit, I would say, treacherous for people crossing the street there by the hospital. So this will improve that also. So with that, I will take any questions.
okay, thanks, Chris. It's good to hear that you're gonna have those ADA curve ramps in there. That's important. Any questions from committee members? Any questions from council members? Seeing none, can I get a motion for suspension of the rules?
Motion to suspend with a favorable recommendation.
We have a motion in, can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next piece is the ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service and or the purchasing agent after publicly advertising for bids to enter into a contract or contracts for the construction of improvements to the Archwood Pump Station and declaring an emergency. Mr. Leto?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yes, this Archwood Pump Station, it's about 65 years old over on the corner of Archwood and Kelly. This is not a total replacement, but it's basically a total renovation of this pump station. All new electric, all new pumps, high efficiency pumps, VFD, variable frequency drives, obviously will save money to improve the efficiency of this pump station. All new roof, all new gutter system, fascia. This project is, as it states, is about a $1.8 million project. We did apply for Ohio Public Works funds. We did receive a grant, which we will not pay back for about a half of this. So 900, I think it's just 902,000 of this project. We did receive a grant for it. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Okay, any questions from committee members? Any question from council members? Seeing none, can I get a motion for suspension of the rules with a favorable report?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next piece is ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service or his designee without the formality of advertising for bids to enter into a contract or contracts with Keep Akron Beautiful for the provision of litter control, recycling, graffiti removal, and beautification activities in the city of Akron and declaring an emergency. Jackie, are you handling this or Mr. Lovell?
Actually, I'll go first,
Okay.
Councilwoman, Chairman. I will turn it over to Jackie and to Carol, who's the board chair.
Okay.
I don't think they really need any introduction because all of you have worked with them in the past. The fabulous job that Keep Akron Beautiful does for us and the challenge they've had in the last few years since COVID. So they've really stepped it up with their organizational skills, but this is our annual appropriation. We did increase it a little bit just because of all the auditing they're doing and helping us reduce our contamination with the recycling. So with that, I'll turn it over to Jackie and Carol can chime in too if need be.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Most of you know me. I'm Jackie Riccuti, the Executive Director of Keep Akron Beautiful. And like Chris said, I have my board chair, Carol Haynes, on the call as well. We're here today to discuss our city contract, which we renew annually. The value of the contract this year is $325,000, and the duties that Keep Akron Beautiful performs on behalf of this contract are in three main areas: litter and graffiti, and beautification and recycling. The litter and graffiti work that we do all the litter and graffiti cleanup with full-time litter crew, community service workers, and volunteers for the city. That litter cleanup has really increased over the last few years. We're cleaning up more litter now than really we ever have been with less people. We're also responsible for beautification duties in the city, which include the administration of our flowerscape beds, our Adopt a Site program, which extends out into Akron's neighborhoods, as well as the Beautification Watch Awards, where we recognize businesses and residents for keeping their properties neat, clean, and beautiful. That is recognized by Keep Akron Beautiful's board chair, the mayor, and the president of council with a letter and a certificate that goes out every September. And then lastly, we administer and manage the Recycle Right program that Chris touched on for contamination recycling reduction. So we have helped the city of Akron since 2019 reduce our recycling contamination from 39% to 22.3%, which is just over a 16% change. So I can provide any additional details or questions based on the services that we provide if requested. And like I said, my board chair is on here too, so she can jump in as well.
Okay. Hi, Carol. Would you like to add to that?
Just thank you for having us. And I think Jackie did a good job. I don't really have anything to add unless you've got questions.
Okay, all righty. Any questions from committee members? Mr. Lombardo?
Thank you. Not really a question, just a note of thanks to Jackie and Carol and the great work that they do at Keep Akron Beautiful, because like Jackie said, with litter and graffiti and the beautification and recycling, I mean, it just goes on, and it just seems like, you know, with very little staff, they try so hard, and we really appreciate their efforts to keep the city of Akron clean. So thank you to Jackie and Emma, Dan, and Carol. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Hey, Councilwoman Amobian?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And again, I like to echo Councilman Lombardo's sentiments. You do a great job in this city, and we thank you so much. Just curious, do you have anything to do with the Judith Israel Park? Because I know it's gotten really nice and big and thick, and the trees have gotten full, and I don't know, I was just curious.
Sure. She was the executive director of Keep Akron Beautiful, and we have a maintenance fund that was established many, many years ago. So we help with the pruning of the trees there, the taking care of the property there, mowing there. All of that comes out of that maintenance fund. So it's not the city parks department that's mowing there or taking care of anything there. We help maintain all of that.
And the building there, because I know I've been in it one time, is there someone who manages that?
Yes, that is not affiliated with us. That is not our building. I don't believe it's the city's building either. Maybe
Okay.
I don't, I'm not 100% sure whose it is.
Yeah, it's real nice. I've been in there once for a meeting, but I can't remember who scheduled it. But no, thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Holland?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Actually, I think I can answer that previous question. I believe that building belongs to Progress Through Preservation.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I'd like to add my thanks and appreciation, Jackie and Carol. Your organization is really just a ray of sunshine in Akron. I appreciate everything you do. You have been hugely supportive and instrumental in hanging on to the beauty in Alexander Park. That's a real standout for me in my mind. I appreciate Leah Heiser so much too, her knowledge, her tenacity. I wanted to ask 2 follow-up questions, and these are questions that are meant to sort of help the viewing audience interested in how to guide individuals and organizations to you. who are interested in getting involved, but also interested in your noting the statistics on reducing recycle stream contamination. As the city gets ready to pilot a return to glass recycling, honestly, this is very much on my mind. It's very front and center for me. Just the tools we already have for gaining better understanding of what's involved and why contaminants and reduction of contaminants in the recycle stream is important. So I'm just kind of interested in your guidance and how we can point to what you have that's in place that can inform volunteers and inform folks who want to know more about recycle contamination.
Sure. First of all, if people want to get involved or volunteer, get involved with any of our programs, our website's the best resource for that, keepakronbeautiful.org, or there's more information on there. If people don't have website access, they can always call us and we can walk them through our programming and how they can do more. In regards to recycling, I think adding glass back in some form is a great change for the city. As I've worked alongside all of our inspectors since 2019, going from bin to bin in the city and checking out the recycling going on. People clearly want to still recycle glass, but just making sure that, like with all of our items in the recycling stream, that everything is clean. We have a lot of contamination with just not rinsing out products and also just still bagging recycling in the city. People think it's the right thing to do, or it's, makes it cleaner in their home if they bag it. But just getting the word out, you can carry that bag to your recycling cart and then dump everything in there, which is what even I do at home. You want to keep it clean while it's in the bin so it doesn't get anything all over the place. But I'm just taking that bag out to the curb. So we talk to lots of residents when we're out doing the Recycle Right program, especially when we're out between the hours of like 7 and 9 a.m. We usually start at 6, but there's a lot more residents out at that time. And we find that we're able to educate a lot of people at the curb. I know the glass discussions will be kind of like a drop off, if I'm not mistaken. So there definitely will need to be marketing surrounding that and what we tell our residents. But we're certainly willing to help with that with some kind of campaign. We can engage our partners at Keep America Beautiful and the Recycling Partnership to figure out how to best do that for Akron.
Wonderful. Thanks again for everything you do.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Connor? Uh-oh, where'd she go?
There she goes. Thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I certainly want to echo my fellow council person's comments about the great work of Keep Akron Beautiful. But litter has always been a big concern of mine, and especially on our great streets where we're trying to encourage people to get out and walk. How do we get more of those big weighted trash cans like we're at the Metro bus stops? You might have 3 or 4 blocks, 5 blocks, and there's no trash cans. So I'm of the opinion people don't carry trash more than 10 to 12 feet. So is there a way to provide more trash cans, especially on those great streets where we're encouraging walking and can reduce some of the litter?
I don't know if that's a question for me or not. We don't do all of the trash removal in those places. I saw Chris raise his hand, so I don't know if you want to chime in, Chris.
Yeah, just send those areas to me or to Francia, Councilwoman Connor, and we'll take a look at it for you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
We do work with the Great Streets program, and we do a lot of litter cleanup with them, though, and we provide almost all of the district's bags, and we'll go in and speak with the businesses there. So we are working with them on litter prevention. We have a great group at the on Copley Road that does a litter cleanup every single week, which is wonderful, all out of Great Streets too.
All righty. Any other questions or comments from committee members or council members? I'm seeing none. Again, Carol and Jackie, thank you for all that you do. And we're gonna work on trying to get some more people over there for community service because we've got some work to do as it relates to littering, but we want to make sure you guys have the assistance that you need over there. So thank you all for what you do over there. Can I get a motion for suspension of the rules?
I'll make that motion to suspend the rules with the favorable report.
Was that a second from someone? And we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I have it. Okay, on to our next piece, ordinance authorizing the director of public service or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts without the formality of publicly advertising for bids with Hazatab Architects, Inc. for the design of second floor renovations to the Bounce Innovation Hub and declaring an emergency. Mr. Little?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of committee. Yes. Down at Bounce, we had about 20,000 of vacant space on the second floor. And we did receive an ADA or an EDA grant. It's an 80-20 grant. The project is about $2.5 million. 2.1 of that will be federally funded. This will allow us to enter a contract with Housing Stop, which we've gone through. We picked this architect through a quality-based system we chose. We looked at a few. They did fit the bill. They've done workforce before at this facility, so we would like to engage them. Some of the upgrades are new offices, conference rooms, new LED lighting, some electrical upgrades, a new kitchen. They'll renovate the restrooms and a new we're going to adapt the HVAC to the existing HVAC system. So they're going to help us prepare the documents. We'll submit them to the building department, and then we'll be able to bid this project.
Okay. I have a question for you, Chris. There's nothing, so you're bidding it, so there's no time frame when you're going to start, because I don't see a start date.
Well, this is just to hire the architect to develop the plan. So
Okay.
we're hoping in a few months we can get this out to bid.
Okay. Any questions from committee members? Any questions from council members? None, seeing none?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Linda? Okay, Councilwoman Amobian.
Thank you. I couldn't get to the device fast enough. Mr. Lotto, this is 163,000 just for the architectural portion. Is that what that is?
Yes.
Now, let me ask you this. I know that we gave, or whatever the correct word is, this building to Bounce. Is that correct?
We still own it, but we're working with them. Yes.
We still own it.
Yes.
So what did we do when we did something last year or last or something?
Yeah,
So
we're working with them. But we consider, we donate a considerable amount of this money for operations. So they're working to get this building filled up. And when they do get this building filled up, they'll be self-sufficient, basically.
So I know that we talked about the portion that we've asked them to help us with the Elevate Akron plan. And I know that they have a group there that's doing that. Do we know any more about what they're doing?
You know what? I'm going to defer to Sean Volman, which I don't think he's on, but we'll get back to you on that. Okay.
That sounds fine. Thank you, Mr. Lutter.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Chris, is consent okay for this?
You know what? We've actually engaged with them about a month ago, but since, we agreed to bring everything to you.
Okay,
I'm starting to get some invoices, so we'd like to start paying them.
All right, can I get a motion for suspension of the rules?
I'll make that motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Have a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Have it.
Please show an abstention for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sarah, can you do a roll call real quick?
Sure. Mosley,
Aye.
Kamer,
Aye.
Holland,
Abstain.
Lombardo,
Aye.
McKittrick.
Aye.
The motion passes 4-0 with one abstention.
So just for the record, Councilwoman Holland, I don't want to put you on the spot. Can you just give us a brief reason for your abstention so we can just stay consistent with that?
Sure. Family member conflict of interest.
Okay, thank you. All right, on to our next piece. Ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts without the formality of publicly advertising for bids with Ohio Edison Company for the installation and the electrical transformer of the Northside Interceptor Tunnel project and declaring an emergency. Mr. Lettle?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of committee. Hopefully you all saw the amended UCR that was, I think it came out around 11 or 12 this afternoon, because the original one didn't have the rebuild of the transformer. So the new UCR is going to show just over 900,000. I believe it's 942,000. So what this project is, down at the end of Otto Street, where the other tunnel was, the transformer is still there. Okay. And this is something I have to give credit to the people at WRF, but most importantly, Tom Smith. So when that job was finished, you know, we leased that, and we told them if they don't have another person to use that, they could leave it on our land temporarily, knowing that we have another tunnel coming up. And our engineers and some of these other projects that you see across the country, they said these transformers are anywhere from 50 weeks up to over 100 weeks lead time, which means it could have delayed the project a couple of years. So what we did was, by leaving it there, they're going to take it, they're going to refurbish it, that's half, and then they're going to relocate it to Peck Road and connect it up to the distribution for our new tunnel. So it saved us a lot of lead time and actually saved us money. So we are not leasing it anymore. We will own it at the end of this project. And then we will probably put it on govdeals.com, advertise it, and we'll resell it. I can't tell you what that'll bring. There is the option that we may even use it ourselves. Okay. So we're looking maybe to upgrade our Akron energy systems with chilled water. We're going through a process of downtown right now. So that's a possibility too. So with that, basically, this is for the tunnel job. We'd like to get this going if possible. I will take any questions, but if we could suspend the rules, Madam Chairman, it would be appreciated.
Okay, any questions from committee members? Any questions from committee members or council members? I don't see any hands. All righty, can I get a motion for suspension of the rules?
Motion to suspend with a favorable report.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Our next piece is an ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts without the formality of publicly advertising for bids with CTI Engineers, Inc. for professional engineering services for the Copley Road Water Main Extension and declaring an emergency. Mr. Ludlow?
Thank you, Madam Chairman and members of committee. Yes, we'd like to engage, or we already have started engaging with CTI. They're designing a 12-inch water main underneath of Route 21 at Copley Road there, or Route 162. This will allow us to loop that whole area west of 21/77. And because currently we have one line that goes under 77, which is north of Route 18. And if we'd have a water main break, we lose that whole side. Now, we have to get full design before we can apply for principal forgiveness through EPA. So we're hoping to get funding for this project through the EPA. And by doing that, we're going to eliminate two public water systems, which is a trucking company and the Copley Business Center. They both have their own water system. This will allow us to connect them. And these two companies are obviously in the JED, which we are receiving a partial of their income tax from them with this project. Right now, we're at 30% design, and we're looking to get 100% design and apply for the funds through EPA, hopefully by, I'd say, July or August of this year.
Okay, all righty. Any questions from committee members? Any question from council members? All right, we're gonna keep rolling here. Can I get a motion for suspension of the rules?
So moved.
Second.
Motion in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next piece is an ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts without the formality of publicly advertising for bids with TRC Environmental Corporation for the design and construction management services of the BF Goodrich Power Plant demolition project and declaring an emergency. Mr. Lovell?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of committee. Yes, we've engaged with TRC, and what they've done for us is help us not only supplying an RFQ for a demo company, but also doing the condition assessment, the asbestos removal, and sampling for this project. So there's definitely some hazards in this building that we need to get this building demoed. We did receive a grant from the ODOD. So we received $5.5 million for this project to get it demoed. So we're working with this. We plan to bid this project very soon and to get this building demoed. So with that, I will take any questions.
Okay. I have a question for you, Chris. So one of the residents wanted to know about the smokestacks. They're concerned about that.
We've got a lot of interest from the smokestack. So what we are going to do, we met internally a couple weeks ago, and we're planning on a public meeting to talk about these, what we can do and what we can't do with them. So TRC is helping us with that also. Some people have compared them to the Pittsburgh stacks. So we will put this out, and we want to engage the public and have a meeting and explain to them our reasons. If we do save them, what that cost would be. We can't use this grant for that. Or if we have to take them down, why do we need to take them down? Okay, so we have a couple options there, but we were definitely want to do, we've talked to a couple of organizations already, but we thought it'd be prudent to do like a public meeting, you know, whether it's in person or Zoom or combination or hybrid, whatever that is, to let as many people participate, because we have had a lot of interest in, you know, our skyline. Unfortunately, as you know, I don't know, 5 years ago, we took one halfway down. I mean, so we lost half of one already because it was ready to fall down. I mean, the bands were breaking, the bricks were falling, and we were afraid somebody was going to get hurt. So we took the one halfway down, we capped it, we capped the other one. But yeah, we will have a public meeting soon on this because of the interest we've had.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilman Holland?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Luddle. Of course, you're already considering this and planning for some public input. I really appreciate that. My question was along these same lines, and it's sort of a two-step. I'm thinking about the Pittsburgh experiment, if you will, too. Also, a lot of research and study on both sides of the equation about best way to proceed with something like this. Some say demolition actually accelerates or aggravates the potential for contamination in the larger environment, you know, or makes it more complex. So there, you know, is some argument that preserving them and sealing them can actually be a good way to go while also preserving a piece of Akron history. But I think a related issue, and I just don't recall if we've covered this, so forgive me, is there a long-range plan for the use of that property once the demolition has been completed?
At this time, no. Obviously, we're trying to engage, you know, different groups. There's been some new residential that was built down there or converted down there. Could that be part of this? But we don't really have any concrete plan. You know, being so close to the towpath, so close to the volleyball courts, that whole area has been revitalized. We definitely think it would be very marketable if we did that.
Sure. And of course, also going to the concern about whether demolition actually creates more hazard than currently exists, you know, what the best practice is. I know you're going to be looking at both. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions from committee members or council members? I'm seeing none. Could I get a motion for suspension of the rules?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Our next piece, make sure I'm on the right one. Ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts without the formality of publicly advertising for bids with Answer Advisory Management LLC for construction management services on the sanitary sewer reconstruction, large, small diameter lining project and declaring an emergency. Mr. Lovell.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of committee. Yes, we've engaged with the Answer to do the construction management of our small diameter lining 2021 and our large diameter lining. So these are two projects, CSO projects that we are doing, and they are going to help us manage this project both together. Right now, we just don't have the capacity in-house to manage this project. So we are asking them to help us out. They've helped us out in the past. And some of the lining projects we've done, we've used some of our own people with their people. So that's what this legislation for. And with that, I'll take any questions.
All righty, any questions from committee members? Councilwoman Holland?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Luddle, could you give us just the 25 words or less explanation of the technique for the lining?
Sure. I think you probably remember a little bit down there on Memorial Parkway around the dog park last year. So basically, the contractor comes in, he'll put in a pump, he'll stop all the flow in this manhole, let's say manhole A, and then he will pump around. Well, while he's doing that, the contractor will come in and put in a liner inside in the pipe. And the small diameter is anywhere from 8-inch up to 15-inch. And then we call large diameters typically 18-inch up to, we've done as big as 96-inch. So this liner goes in, they inflate it with steam. There's different process. Some have been spray liners on the real big sewers, but they'll inject this steam, then it has to cure, and it basically rehabilitates the whole inside of the sewer lining. It's a hard coated thick, which obviously extends the life. They're saying 50 years. It improves flow. It improves our cleaning and our efficiency of the sewer. So we have to make sure that, we have somebody there all the time watching that the product that we spec, the product we paid for is the right product. It's installed right. They reviewed, before and after TV reports. They have to make sure, in this stretch, let's say it's 300 feet between manhole and manhole, and you have 10 houses connected. Well, they have to make sure they have to go back in there and cut those out. There's a machine that goes into the liner. It knows exactly where it's at because it's all engineered, and it'll cut out that hole. So that obviously that house can now, I don't know how to say it nice, everything that flushes goes into the sewer system and doesn't back up into the house. So.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from committee or council members? I'm seeing none. Could I get a motion for suspension of the rules?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next piece is ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service or his designee to enter into a contract or contracts without the formality of publicly advertising for bids with Plow. I'm sure I'm killing these names, but
Let's just say GPD.
Yeah, GPD. Let's do that. For the design of the Stubbs Elevator Modernization Project and declaring an emergency. Mr. Ludlow.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. As you know, last year, this council approved some monies to replace all the door hardware and to the Stubbs elevator. We all know the history of them. So we're going through a process of now, if we talk about the front or the High Street side, we have the 3 elevators. With the court moving, hopefully in a few months, we're not going to rehabilitate number 3. So car number 2, all the hardware has been done on the doors. And then we're converting the new controls to the old controls. And the number one, we've got all the hardware, and I believe this week they're converting the controls. Like I said, car number 3 is out of service. Car number 4, we did the modernization of the generator and the motor. And then the last elevator, it's just limited floors. So what this legislation is going to let us do is totally upgrade these elevators to all new controls. Even though most of the problems we've had is with doors not closing, the mechanism not locking, and then they're down, and they've been down. So we have got the reliability up a little bit. I would say better than 50%, but this will help us upgrade these elevators to a point kind of like Muni, where we get a total new elevator system. So they helped us design the Muni, and we picked them to help us design this modernization of the Stubbs elevators.
Okay, thank you, Chris. These elevators are problematic, so I could go on and on and on about these elevators and how much we've spent on them. It'd just be good if we get to a point of moving these officers into a new building when everyone else moves out. We've just spent way too much money on elevators. That's just my soapbox. I'll open it up for other questions or comments from committee members. All righty, seeing none, can I get a motion for suspension of the rules?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
And we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next piece is an ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service to enter into a contract or contracts without the formality of publicly advertising for bids with Fence Enterprise, Inc. for the purchase and installation of the perimeter fence at Firestone Stadium and declaring an emergency. Mr. Ludlow?
This project, what happened was when we started the renovation, we really thought we need to get a fence around this. We've had some vandalism with the reconstruction of the fields. And if you've been down there, and I'm sure Councilman Kamer's been down there, the main field is done. They're just doing the finishing touches. They're working on the pony field. So we engaged with this company who's done other fencing for us. They're going to purchase the fencing from right across the street from the stadium at Richards Fence. So this will allow us to move forward and get the new perimeter fence and secure it before our high school girls start. Hopefully within a week or two, we'll get them on those fields and get going.
Okay. All righty. Any questions from committee members? Any questions from council members? All righty, seeing none, can I get a motion for suspension of the rules?
I'll make the motion. to suspend the rules.
And I will second.
You have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, it's our last piece. That was a lot, huh? Ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service to enter into a contract or contracts without the formality of advertising for bids with G. Stevens, Inc. for the construction management of Riverside Sewer Separation, CSO Rack 34 and Lower Northside Interceptor lining projects and declaring an emergency. It says substitute offered as an amendment as consent agenda item number 3.
Yeah, last week, we had to change the title. It said we were going to bid it, which we did not. We'd already picked G. Stevens off path. We did interviews with a couple companies. This goes back 4 or 5 months ago when we came to award it. With the recent changes at council, we're going to bring all these to you. So we didn't actually bid this, and I said, we need to bring an amendment in, and we did pick them not only by their qualifications, by the people they had available for this job. I think I went through it last week of this is part of the Third Amendment, smaller tunnel separating Rack 34 and the lining down there on Peck Road. So that's what this is, to allow us to pick this construction manager for this project.
Okay. All right, questions from committee members? Questions from council members? Councilwoman Albion?
Is there the figure sheet? I don't see that, the UCR.
Yeah, it's not.
Councilwoman Mobian, it's probably with the original one that's showing under the consent agenda. Number 3 on consent is being pulled, and this is substituting out.
Oh, I see. Well, how much is this?
I believe it was 689,000, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we are going to, just one caveat, Chairman, we are using some of our own people on this project too, to lower the cost.
Okay. Anything else, Councilwoman Amobian?
No, Madam Chair, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Neal?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Ludlow, I heard the term construction manager. So does that mean that the actual work is going to be done? I heard you say by some of our employees. Will any outside contractors be used?
Well, G. Stevens, this is for the construction management. So they're going to manage the project for us. They're going to be working with the contractor. So we bid both of these projects. I believe we bid them at least 4 months ago. So the RAC 34 separation, it's about $3.5 million project, and that's 34% below the engineer's estimate. So the lining project is about 1.2, and that was about 21% under the engineer. So we got good prices on both these, but this legislation before you, sir, is for the construction management.
No,
So they will work and watch over the contractors. They will work with the designer who designed these projects, and then they will work with our own staff. So we may not use all of this in this legislation. This is all CSO or from the Sewer Bureau, Sewer Capital Fund. So we are going to use our own people. I could tell you this, sir. Right now, we're managing about $60 million worth of work with our own people on various projects across the city. One I could name right now is Mall Avenue in your ward. We're managing that in-house. So we're trying, we could use a few more people. It's just tough right now hiring them in this thing. So we are going to be using both. So.
Well, no, I could appreciate that. I just wanted to make sure I understood the terminology. Because construction manager means that there should be room for potential engaging minority contractors in the project. I'm sure you're aware of the recent communication that council has gotten from the different minority contracting associations saying that the challenges of getting business. So this goes back to us, looking at being intentional, using whatever equitable metrics we use to make sure that we engage them. So that was my reason for concern, because we just recently got two letters just expressing concern. One from, I believe, Carla Matthews, who used to be with the Urban League and is very familiar with their minority contracting program, and then Mr. Good. So if there is room for us to be intentional by making sure that we address those, if it's a challenge of them just being able to get engaged in the process in a proper way, if we can assist there, whatever those challenges are, because it's been a consistent theme throughout this CSO project.
Well, as you know, we have thought at the state, and now it's only a goal. We can't mandate it anymore. But what I can tell you in our bid documents on these two projects, on RAC 34 separation and on the lower NSI lining, the contractors that were awarded these both have a goal that they met, 15% minority and 3% women-based enterprise. So on their bid documents, what they submitted to us is 18%. Now, what this company, the construction manager, he will track that, or she, whoever his employees are, they will track to make sure that those goals, that we can get as close as we can, or maybe we can go over those goals. So that'll be one of them, tracking the payrolls, tracking where they're coming from, and actually making sure that they meet the goal that set forth. So they have their own goal too. So they are an Akron-based company. Obviously G Stevens is, and they have their own minority participation. So, but we can report back after this project on how they did with their goals, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Chris, can you get the original UCR that was from the original one that from the consent agenda from a
Yep.
few weeks ago? If you could get that sent over to everyone, just so they could have it for their just, for their own
Sarah.
minds, I appreciate that.
Could you email it to everybody, Sarah, or I can? Sarah.
Will do.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, thank you. What do you want to do with this? I can suspend the rules, but it seems like everyone wants to see the UCR on it.
She can send the UCR. If we could suspend it, if everybody's comfortable, just because they've already started working.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? The lining project's already started. You probably see the pipe going under Cauga Street.
Yeah, I did.
So
Yeah.
they've started the work, so.
All right, can I get a motion for suspension of the rules?
I'll make that motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Nice have it. All righty, that's our last piece. We are adjourned.
Our next committee of the day is the Public Utilities and Green Committee. Those committee members are Freeman, McKittrick, Connor, Mosley, and Holland. It's like we do have all members present except for Councilman Freeman. We are running a little behind schedule. Sorry, everyone. Thanks for your patience. Councilman McKittrick, are you able to chair since you're the past chair?
Sure. If we could just give a moment to see if Councilman Freeman's going to join.
Sure.
Okay, Sarah, if you'd like to go ahead and get started then.
Okay, ready when you are.
Okay, would you mind doing a roll call, please?
Sure. Freeman, McKittrick,
Aye.
Connor,
Aye.
Mosley,
Aye.
Holland.
Aye.
All committee members are present except for Councilman Freeman.
Okay, could I get a motion approving the previous minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Clerk Viviano, would you mind reading in the first piece for us, please?
Sure. Item number 12 is an ordinance authorizing the purchasing agent to enter into a contract or contracts without the formality of advertising for bids with Gray Matter Systems for the purchase of a GE iFix Global Care Complete Software Support Package for the Water Supply and Wastewater Bureaus and declaring an emergency.
Thank you very much. Mr. Little, are you speaking?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is our Global Care iFix software package. This software we use at wastewater and at water supply. This helps us monitor our complete system, all our chemical feeds, all our SCADA, all our it monitors all pumps, all instrumentation. So it's the most up-to-date system. It has proven that we have used less chemicals because before we just dosed as needed, but now we have a lot higher technology. We have monitoring systems. So this helps us at both. In both systems, actually are able to talk to each other. So with that, I will take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Lettle. Do we have any questions from any committee members? Any council members? Seeing none,
Consent's
Mr.
fine,
Lettle.
sir. Consent's fine, sir.
Okay, thank you. Could I get a motion for consent, please?
Motion for consent.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And our next piece, clerk, please.
Number 13 is an ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service or his designee, after publicly advertising for bids, to enter into a contract or contracts for the purchase of materials in support of the Fixed Network AMI program and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Lettle, are you speaking on this, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm sure all of you have heard about our water meter project, and we're into residential homes now. And what we're finding, and obviously we have to go in by appointment. We just don't knock on the door. So we get the appointment, we make an appointment, we get in the house. And I would say around 5% of the homes we're going into, we're finding leaky fittings, corroded fittings, valves that do not shut. So we didn't want to put that burden of minor plumbing repairs on the homeowner, because we did say this wasn't going to cost them anything. So with that, we didn't want to tell them, go hire a plumber. Here's what you need to do. This plastic fitting is not conforming to code. You need to use copper or brass. We are adding money to the project to do these minor plumbing repairs for the homeowner as we are there at the appointment, which will help us not make another appointment and put any more undue burden on the homeowner. Now, if something is leaking clear across the basement, we're obviously not going to fix that. But it's just right around the meter to put in the proper fittings and get the meter in, get it working, and then go on to the next appointment.
Thanks, Mr. Lettle. I know that we were a little bit behind on this because of supply issues before. Are these new issues that we're encountering, are they going to push us back a little further?
No, I don't think so. We're still experiencing, we're not getting the delivery of the meters we thought, but it has increased, but not to the level we'd really like to see. So we're really hoping that as time goes on, they keep, we start to get these deliveries, and that allows the contractor to hire more people. They are hiring local. We've engaged with some local minority firms to try, but until they really get a higher volume of meters delivered, it's tough. Right now, everybody's busy. And I don't care if you're big or small. And if we can't guarantee them work, they don't want to commit, but that's what we're hoping for. And these are all we're dealing with is 1/2 inch and 3/4 diameter fittings. So it doesn't take a big contractor to make these repairs. So this is perfect. Whether you're big or you're small, you can handle these repairs. So.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have any questions from any committee members? Ms. Amobian?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Little, approximately how much are we talking about in addition, and where are these funds coming from?
Well, they're water capital. And we put in this UCR 420,000, ma'am, but we don't expect, we put enough in there to cover these repairs. We're really hoping it doesn't get to that high of a number, but I can't really tell you because, if we were going to go out and hire a plumber, it's $100 an hour. Okay. If they had to go hire a plumber, it's $100, So we thought we'll control the process by having the company who's doing the installation do it and add it on. So that's what we put in there, but we're hoping it doesn't get to that number of repairs. But it is water capital. We did secure this loan. We've got a fantastic interest rate over 45 years. So, I mean, nothing's free money, but it's rolled into that project.
Well, thank you for doing that. I'm sure the homeowners will appreciate it. Because like you said, if you hire a plumber just to come to your house, if you hire 150 just to walk through the door. So
And
thank you
just
very
the
much.
inconvenience of making the appointment sometimes tough too,
Yeah, that's true. Thank you, Mr. Lotto.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Amobian. Do we have any other council members with questions? Not seeing any. Mr. Lettle, what's your pleasure?
Consent's fine.
Motion for consent?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. I think we have one more piece here. Clerk, if you could read that in, please.
Yes, item number 14 is an ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Service and/or the purchasing agent, after publicly advertising for bids, to enter into a contract or contracts for the construction of miscellaneous plant improvements at the Akron Water Plant and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Clerk Viviano. Mr. Lettle, you have some information for us?
Yes. Up at the water plant, the water supply, as you know, we have 50, but we have basically 25 filter gallery boxes. And we've been trying to rehabilitate these every year to do a few of them. So this will help us do 3 or 4 of these galleries where we take the water totally out, obviously. We rebuild the filter box. We do concrete structural repairs. We upgrade the electric in these filter galleries. And then we also install new filter media. And then we go, and that would totally rebuild at least 3 of these 25 gallery boxes. Also, when this is in the capital budget, we have an existing office space right adjacent to these that we are going to do some electrical upgrades and buy some new cubicles to put a couple new employees into this space right next to the filter gallery.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lettle. Do we have any questions from any committee members?
Consent would be fine, sir.
Okay. Any council members? If not, could I get a motion for consent, please?
So
Motion for
moved.
consent,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, with that, I think there's nothing else to come before us. We'll be adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next committee of the day is the Budget and Finance Committee. Those committee members are Freeman, Amobian, Malik, Baylor, and Lombardo. We do have all members present except for Councilman Freeman. Councilwoman Amobian, would you like to chair, or would you like to give him a minute to join? Councilwoman Amobian, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I said it's 3:05, so maybe he's not planning to be with us today. He hasn't called or anything, to your knowledge?
No.
Okay. Well, let's just call the meeting to order then.
Okay.
All members present except Mr. Freeman? They are?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
May I have a motion to accept the minutes from our previous meeting, please?
Motion to approve minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 And I believe the only thing I see is that we have 2 follow-up items. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Correct. There is no new legislation today, but there are 2 items on the regular agenda. One of those
Right.
items was referred last week, and there is a guest here from the Soapbox Derby.
Okay, very good. Okay, could we hear from the guest? Who's present?
Certainly. Good afternoon. Brett Trier here. I'm the current chair of the board of the International Soapbox Derby. And I appreciate the time that you've afforded us and the legislation before council.
And I want you to, excuse me, I just want you to know that we certainly appreciate the program, and we've been working with Soapbox Derby for years. And we know that you've been planning to become self-sufficient, and I know you're headed in that direction. So we just want to know exactly where you are with that.
You bet. I think the most important thing for the council to know and understand is that several, years ago, when the Derby was in some financial challenges and constraints with a significant bank debt, that bank debt is now down to below $100,000 from its high water mark of over $1 million. And between payments this year and next year will be paid in full. So the Derby will be debt free. The council also, I'm sure, knows that the executive director of the Derby resigned earlier this year. Wanted to make sure that the council knew that we've engaged a very good search firm called Waverly Partners, based here in Northeast Ohio, to have a more formal search process than was done the last time. In our diligence, one of the more recent significant Northeast Ohio nonprofits that they helped place was the successor to Chris Ronayne at University Circle. So they've got a good reputation, and we're going to make sure that we find a new leader who's going to continue the Soapbox Derby in the right direction. Last comment from kind of return to post-pandemic circumstances. As you would expect, during 2020, you could not hold in-person races. 2021 were a little more restricted. 22 was far less restrictions, and we returned to about 85% of 2019 pre-COVID participation, with over 300 racers attending Akron last year. One of the things that we're also looking forward to this year is with the city's grant to help clean up and kind of infill the rubber bowl. The aesthetics are going to be much better at the finish line for the Soapbox Derby in 23. So those are the highlights that I wanted to bring to your attention. I could talk about a couple other developments if you'd like, Councilwoman.
Please go ahead. And if you could include your operating budget, and you've already talked about the debt that you're about.
Sure.
To clear out, so go ahead.
A couple other things, just kind of highlights on events. 80 days of events were held last year at Derby Downs. It included from different STEM programs, over 2,500 Akron area students participating in either gravity racing or STEM team competitions, summer camps, and field trips. We ended the year with total assets of 2.8 million, and from a really solid position in the bank, with current assets of almost 500,000, cash and cash equivalents of 300,000, current liabilities of only 200,000. And then I said, we're getting the long-term liability down to the $100,000 range for long-term financial stability.
Sounds good. Sounds like you're getting on solid footing, at least.
We're sure trying.
Okay. I know one of the things we talked about some years ago, are we finding that we're having more diversity involved in the participants?
Yes. One of the great things that Mark Herbert did before he departed was connected not just with Akron Public Schools and other local schools on the STEM side to add more diversity and inclusion, but also some really good relationships with New York Public Schools, including both Brooklyn and Staten Island and a couple others who have local races, and we're bringing people to the Derby here. And as you'd expect, that's quite a diverse population with New York City Public Schools.
Very good. Thank you very much. Are there committee members with questions or comments? Sarah, I can't see any hands. Do you?
Councilwoman,
I do not see.
Go ahead, Councilman Mallett.
And thank you, Mr. Trier, for the information. Mr. Fricker, I think we touched on this briefly last time, but just wanted to get a sense, when did this kind of annual payment begin? And I believe it's decreased over time. Is that correct?
I can't give an exact year. It's been several years, I believe 10 plus years at least. I believe the payment used to be $60,000. It's been 50 for the past 3 or 4 years. So it has decreased somewhat in the past 3 or 4 years, probably.
That's my recollection too, Mr. Fricker.
Thank you,
Go
Mr.
ahead. Did you have no comments, Mr. Malik?
Nothing further on that. I think it's, a worthy organization, and I appreciate that they're taking steps to, to move towards greater self-sufficiency.
Sure. Are there any other hands, Madam Clerk?
I don't see any other hands raised.
Okay. Okay. And thank you so very much for coming, sir. With that information, Mr. Fricker, I'm assuming that we want to pass this or consent.
We would like to pass this, yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to pass this with suspension of the rules?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Oppose? The motion passes. Thank you so very much, and much success to the Soapbox Derby.
You
Thank
bet.
you.
We'll keep you informed. Thank you for the support.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye. And we have one other item, is correct, Madam Chair?
Correct. Item number 2 under the regular agenda is the resolution urging the city administration to collaborate with Akron City Council regarding future revision to existing section 56 of the 2023 budget ordinance regarding professional service contracts and declaring an emergency.
Right, so we're requesting time on this.
Okay. Okay. Time. And is there anything else to come before us?
That's it.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes. I can't see your hand, Mr. Cummings. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to ask, can we get an update on where we stand with the questions that were asked in regards to the total budget process?
I know there were some additional questions. I know one of which was the contracts. We were able to get so we had to basically bring up our old database from the old system in order to produce some of that data. That was done over the weekend, and we're working on gathering that information right now.
Okay.
And Steve, I know I ask this all the time. Some form of some process is used to determine where we're going to make our investment. We've all that the budget is a value statement. Can we get whatever was used as far as making the investment, not just as of our annual budget, but of the ARPA dollars, to show how equitable this investment has been across the city?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we are gathering that information as those dollars are spent. We are gathering the information on the metrics of how those dollars are being spent. Some of it is geographic. Some of it is data on, the number of beneficiaries to those expenditures. So we are gathering those as those dollars are spent.
I appreciate that, sir. That's going to show, if I'm understanding you correctly, it's going to show that how we've invested these dollars, the metrics going to show the equity there. I'm saying, as far as when we made the investment, what metrics did we use to make the decision?
Okay, I know that we went through a process where we identified the buckets that we were going to spend, both housing, the violence prevention, the water investments. There was a lot of data and consideration that was put into coming up with what those buckets were. But I don't know that it's a I'm not sure exactly what you're asking for. I mean, we gave a number of considerations to, when the projects were assembled, and we ultimately settled on, with some, and I know that we met with the various, We had ward meetings for each ward and took some input there and ultimately came up with a list of projects that we funded. So that was the mechanism that we used to come up with the projects that were funded under ARPA.
Okay, I'll try to make this simple. The dollars came to our community based on two metrics: poverty and housing instability. That's how they determine what communities receive what they received. As we spend these dollars, one, to make sure that if we just use the metrics that brought them to our community, to make sure that we are equitable in our disbursement. But here's the other thing. As a council, these dollars weren't just brought for us to spend. We have to show that we can sustain this investment. So using whatever metrics we use to make the decision, so that we can put in place metrics for not just this council, but council members coming after us to make equitable budgetary decisions. So again, what brought these dollars to our community were housing, instability, and poverty. If we just use those two basic metrics, that's fine. I'm just trying to make sure we have never defined that these are the metrics that we're using. And we are, this is 2023. We'll be done with this. Just for us to be definitive on and knowing this is how we made these decisions and this is how we're going to make them go forward. That's all. I don't know any other way to ask it.
Okay, I mean, all I can say is that I know we've provided some data in the various ARPA presentations we've given the council. We will continue to, to provide more data as we spend those dollars. As to
I think
where they are going.
Yeah, I understand. And thank you, Mr. Fricka. So as we move forward, if there's a way to incorporate what Mr. Neal is asking for, it would be helpful, particularly knowing that those were the metrics used for the establishment and allocation of these resources. So,
well, Madam Chair, if I could say this too, I think it would be helpful even for us as council, because we have a budget. Have we equitably allocated the budget that we have? What metrics are we using even to expense our own budget?
and that is something I'm sure that we have to direct to the president and the leadership team. So let's direct that to her.
Well, okay, I'll say this and then I'll stop.
Okay.
We've kicked this can down the road since, I think the last documentation I looked at was 2016. Council has never came together and allocated a budget. And put priorities together on how we're going to work with the administration to even address the issues and concerns that come before us. This is a systemic practice within council to never set goals and objectives and allocate a budget to it and have our own metrics. And with the challenges that we're facing in our community, I'd like for us to finally draw a line in the sand and address the issue. I'll leave it there, but it's.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Neal. Is there anything else to come before us, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Madam Chair, Councilman Lombardo has his hand raised.
Oh, sure. Mr. Lombardo, I can't see it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there
Motion
a
to
second?
adjourn. Yep.
With no further matters before us, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is our final committee meeting of the day. Council will meet at 7 p.m. tonight. Thank you.